Serious, X big box store, Target, Walmart, Best Buy, employees. What's some of the behind the scenes stuff that happens that the public doesn't know about? Zellers around 2005 to 2007. Zellers was like a Canadian Target or Kmart that had a diner in it. I worked in the clothing department. We once found a box long lost and buried in the back with girls' dresses. They went on the shelves discounted, then discounted again, etc. IDK if they eventually sold, would find the remains of shoplifted weight loss supplements in the plus size section all the time. I wonder if that still happens. People would occasionally try to shoplift jeans, leave their old jeans on a hanger, but walk out with the size stickers still on them and get caught. People shoplifted all the time, like constantly. Some would wait nonchalantly near the fitting room for the attendant to return clothes and go ham. We would find discarded tags everywhere. Employees did too. My supervisor was fired for it. Then we got Target. Then Target died, so now we have nothing. Market Pantry, Target brand, is literally delivered in Tyson boxes. You're getting Tyson chicken for a cheaper price than Tyson even though it's the same stuff. A lot of stuff is like that. It's cheaper for Target to pay Tyson to package things as Market Pantry than to actually produce things themselves. There are often laws, depending which country you are in, that dictate how long a promotional price can be displayed before it becomes the normal retail price. Other comments mention inferior product being bought to sell at clearance prices, but it can go beyond that. Let's say a toaster is normally $100. For the next 2 weeks, it's on a half price sale. The 2 weeks after that, it's buy one appliance, get another free. 2 weeks after that, it's buy 2 appliances, save 50%. That toaster's retail price is $50, no matter how it's worded. If it's always on sale, it's never on sale. I worked at Super Target a decade ago. Working in the warehouse was one of the most fun jobs I had in my young life. My boss used to walk around with a box cutter and slip next to bags of cookies and chips, resulting in the product becoming defective, so it was up to us to dispose of the product. Worked at Target, and if there is any price dispute at all with what's rung up and what is posted, they will take the customer's word for it, within reason. For example, I worked in the food and we had meat for sale at 2.99 lb. The sticker on the food said lb, but the signage in the aisle said 2.99 inches. A woman disputed it and got $40 of meat for $6. I bought a phone case the other day and it rang up as $54, but I could have swore it was $45 when I picked it out. I was in the self-checkout, but I asked the attendant thinking she could price check it, for my sanity at least. She changed the price immediately. I didn't even ask her to. No clue what the right price was in the end. Many of the Black Friday deals are items made with inferior quality compared to the original product. They change the SKU number to protect themselves legally. When I worked for Toys R Us, Black Friday deals were normally just a bunch of crap that didn't sell well during the year. One year, we had 100 or so Toy Story Operation games for $10 that just sat in the back for months. Put them out on Black Friday for $8 with a sale limit 3 sign and they sold out within an hour. People were freaking fighting over them and trying to get more than 3. Stores like Kohl's or other discount retailers ship products with the sales price in the truck. It was $49.99, now $34.99 inches means it came to the store in the truck with a real retail price of $34.99. The big you saved $100 shopping at Kohl's at the receipt? That's BS. You paid the normal retail rate, and they add like 20-40% and claim you are saving money. Former JCPenney employee, they'll take almost anything back. A lady came in wanting to return a pair of pants but didn't have her receipt because she had bought them a few months prior. She explained that she had worn and washed them several times since buying them, but one of the legs got a small hole in it, and she just didn't think they should be tearing up already. The manager accepted the return and gave her store credit. Used to work at Toys R Us years ago. I loved my co-workers. Everyone was a nerd for something. Comic books, anime, card games, etc., which made work really enjoyable. But in addition to bad pricing year-round, certain popular toys would experience price creep starting in September-October. EZ bake ovens were $40 in September, $60 by November. Then during Black Friday and random weeks throughout the holidays would be on sale for $40. Skylanders same thing. $10 normally, creep to $12.13, and then on sale for $10. The kicker was they'd keep the prices high and then after no sales post holidays so your gift cards wouldn't go as far. Prices usually went back to normal by April. Also, at least my store was very customer is always right that 50% off a baby item coupon from Babasris. Bring it to True and ask for a manager. You'll get the discount on a toy. Customer claims price tag is different. If it's within $10 don't question. Just change it. If you didn't mind getting a little confrontational you could get some good deals. Worked at Macys for years. Macys doesn't work commission anymore except in some very specific areas like fine jewelry and shoes, but only if they work in that specific area. So one trick the management would do at my store to get around that was to just pull from other departments when they were short, instead of calling in someone who worked there and needed the hours. That way, they don't have to pay any commission. Furthermore, employees are still required to make a certain dollar amount of sales. They use the same system they used back when commission was given to everyone. Used to be that if you exceeded a certain dollar amount in sales in a given day, you'd get a bonus. But then they ditched that commission system at my store, but kept the goal number and just instead expected everyone to hit it all the time. This figure is supposedly based on sales made the same day the previous year, but it never really worked out that way and always came to a suspiciously round number. Failure to meet this number gets you written up. Successfully meeting this number also gets you written up for not exceeding it by enough. The only way around that was to work in a department that consistently met the goals set for it. They push this idea called magic selling. Basically it's nothing but a flowery way of saying just provide good customer service. But they love talking about it like it's some amazing, innovative idea to meet your customer, greeting them properly, ask questions to figure out what you can help them with, give them options and advice, I inspire them to buy more. In plain English, that just means upselling, and celebrate the purchase with them before they leave. It's really not, it's just normal customer service really, but the management thinks it is actual magic and can somehow cause someone working in the watch department for 4 hours on a day when nobody comes into the area to just create $300 worth of sales out of customers who are literally not even present. The issue is the management has their own goals set for their departments, and they get in trouble if the department doesn't meet the goals. So the crap falls down, and if the arbitrary goals aren't met their training is to ride your butt and actually prevent you from doing your job so they can tell you off for not doing your job well enough for their liking. That sounds fun. This is probably common sense, but just in case, you really should probably wash your new clothes before wearing them. I spent a year doing overnights at Target in softlines, the backroom aisles of clothing, shoes, and baby, and when I'd wash my hands at the end of the shift, the water would truly be deep charcoal grey. When I worked at Target, they'd always feed us. I'd go into the break room and it would be PB&J day, or cereal day, or ice cream sundae day. On bigger days like holidays or Black Friday, they'd cater anything from pizza on smaller holidays to full-blown barbecue rib buffet dinners from a local barbecue joint. Summers were popsicles in the freezer, and even a cookout once a summer. I mostly hated the job, but the people I worked with were great, all the way up the chain. Worked at a Barnes & Noble. Here's a few off the top of my head that I can remember. The one I worked at sold textbooks, so a few for that. One was I understand that Pearson's and other major publishers host huge promo events in football stadium sizes, with thousands of dollars of catering and giveaways to college execs. It's here that they push new editions of texts, and while there are professors who do insist on their own books, I've had many conversations with professors on the phone who were ordering books for the following semester, and they'd ask my opinion, as a student, what the best option was. Whether students preferred the cheaper e-books at the expense of no hard copy, or the cheaper paperbacks that run the risk of losing pages, or would they prefer the hard copy that is more expensive. Often they'd only be allocated one type of order by their departments, and the ones I spoke with really were trying to be accommodating. A lot of the pressure for new editions came from higher up the totem pole, the people who were invited to those Pearson's promotions events. Another thing that may not be obvious, sometimes you can be screwed with buyback. There's a national used book dealer, MBS, that we give our spare inventory at the end of the year and buy new inventory from for the new year. It's where we get the majority of our used books from. There are laws surrounding the buy and sale of international editions. It's policy that we can't buy back an international edition. Occasionally, some employee somewhere will buy one back anyway. It gets sent to MBS, and then they'll send an international edition to a new store the next year. Some college kid who doesn't give a frick will put the ISBN on the book anyway instead of telling their manager and pulling it from the shelf, and then it gets sold. You might be able to sell it back at the end of the semester, or you might get an employee who follows procedure and tells you they can't buy it back. It sucks. Pro tip: if the book has black duct tape down the spine or on the cover anywhere, it's probably international. If you intend to try and sell back, ask for another copy. When I worked the cafe, my manager told me that selling 1 grand cup of coffee was basically the cost of the entire brewed batch. Like we buy boxes with a couple dozen bags for coffee in it. If you divide out the cost of the total number of batches by the total cost of the box, it was roughly the cost of 1 medium coffee, lol. I worked at Arby's as a young adult, and I ran the numbers on soda. Turns out the cup the soda came in cost more than the liquid in it. I've worked at a few of them. K's, the corporate complaints line will do just about anything to keep from getting bad PR. The employees generally can't do anything other than stand there and recite company policy, so don't get mad at them. Just call corporate. Also, the special buys for $24.99 $19.99 aren't pieces they normally carry. They are made specifically for that event. They don't retail normally for $80. Macys. A majority of the stock is on the floor at any given point in time. At least where I worked, arguing with the employee to check the back normally results in a few seconds of peace and quiet in the stock room. Target. If they have a mobile phone department, chances are the person in the black shirt has no clue what's going on in the rest of the store. They are there as a vendor to sell phones and have little to no cross training. That's the big ones. Worked in Target managing the phone section. Black shirt. I was bored, so I learned the store better than most employees. But since I wasn't Target, I couldn't handle electronics key. I was a manager and could have keys to $30,000 in phones but not a $60 video game case. So even though I was standing in electronics, we'd have to wait 5 minutes for someone to help you, annoying everyone involved. I framed pictures at Hobby Lobby for a while. The Christmas crunch is a true thing. I would work through nights, on Sundays, and even up through Christmas Eve to get your pictures finished. I tried really hard to make sure everyone had their gift on, but at a certain point, it's closing time on the 23rd of December. There are 300 orders in line ahead of you, and I honestly don't care how important your particular thing is, so no guarantees. Know who will guarantee your order is completed on time? A discreet Andrew Jackson. People tip a lot in those gigs and they get treated better. Just a heads up, if you know how to frame stuff and you have ready access to the supplies needed, talk to tattoo shops about it. I know a few tattoo artists and most of them are into other forms of visual art, paint, drawing, photography, and they always need a lot of custom framing done. But that crap gets real expensive. My artist is always looking to trade tattoo work for frames. Worked at Best Buy. There wasn't any commission made unless it was like a Magnolia home theater. But sales associates had legit hourly daily goals for sales, which is why you sometimes feel bombarded by employees and they would want to close the sale right then and there before you went somewhere else, because a lot of times another employee who would ring up the sale would put their numbers in and then get credit for the entire sale even if they didn't help with it at all. Also, if you don't hit those goals consistently enough, even if it's like an extremely slow season, there was the threat of being fired. However, behind the scenes you were able to get some of the best deals ever, to the point where I usually recommend putting up with a part-time 1-day-week shift just to get them. The Best Buy brand stuff was super cheap, so like phone chargers were like 80 cents. Then there were like online quizzes we could take on products to become store experts on them, which usually resulted in getting insane deals like 60% off a Sony TV if you did those, or like I combined two at the time and got my Netgear Nighthawk for mad cheap. Also, Geek Squad protection was crazy cheap as an employee, so we used to get it on like Bluetooth headphones, and when they broke we would just use the protection to replace them with headphones or equal or better value. Finally, a lot of those TV deals around Black Friday that are doorbusters that are too good to be true usually were, and while they weren't terrible, they weren't made with the best parts. Walmart regularly hires people to work full-time hours but calls them part-time so they don't have to give them benefits. They say you'll be working 25-ish hours per week and then book you for 40 and say it's temporary. It's not. They also don't care if you're being harassed. I had a fellow employee threaten to run me down in the back room with a Walker stacker machine, and when I told management, they laughed in my face. The woman who threatened me had a history of doing it to new employees. Literally, I worked at Walmart for 3 months as part-time, but I was getting 45-50 hours a week. They didn't let me lower my hours because I made a commitment to work, and then I had a fever one day, showed my boss and said I was gonna leave, and they said if I left that day I'd be fired. I left and was fired. I had mono and was in bed for 2 weeks. The narc population at Walmart is just as big as ever. We have them all over the electronics and automotive sections. Look for anyone that gives off the middle-aged divorced dad vibe. Huge giveaway is also when they linger but have empty carts. I've heard of other locations employing younger people to play their narcs, but if you know what to look for, they're impossible to miss. There's one at this Walmart I go to, younger guy around my age, 26ish, dresses in just jeans and shirts. Every single time I go in there, without fail, he follows me a couple times. Like, come on dude, you've followed me plenty to know I don't jack crap. My mom worked at Michael's for over a decade. After they were acquired by Bain Capital, all these costs started getting slashed. She used to stock the shelves after they unloaded the truck at 5 AM. Bain implemented a policy that they wouldn't turn on the lights or HVAC until an hour before the store opened, when most employees arrived. There was no way to override this, as everything was timed and controlled remotely, so the early morning staff, including my 60-year-old mom, wore parkas and those minus headlamps, paid for out of their own pockets. For a few months before someone threatened to go to the press when the temperature was down in the 20s and there was no heat for 4 hours. My mom also bugged the crap out of corporate to change another policy. She used to be an elementary art teacher for a rural public school. She was basically given a bucket of markers and a box of construction paper every year. Meanwhile, Michael's is throwing thousands of dollars of high-end overstock art supplies into the trash compactor every month with a corporate policy not to let them leave the store. Mom started a letter writing campaign, more like a letter writing assault, and they eventually let her donate the supplies to local schools and community programs. Frick Bain Capital. Your mom sounds like a really good person. I have various family who work at Walmart. They have a customer satisfaction guarantee and will return just about anything within reason, even well past the warranty. The magic words are "that's it." I'm calling 1-800-WALMART if you are being given a hard time, as they will nearly always override the store. I just learned this yesterday whilst meeting my family member at Target. When you press the button summoning help, they have 45 seconds to respond and an automated call goes out to all two-way radios. Fast service needed in department. Who is responding? If they don't respond in time, head office is informed. Stores are judged harshly if too many calls timeout. So please, be nice to the flustered looking team member who helps you. They may have literally ran from the other end of the store. Our Sam's Club, and others I'm sure, have a very generous return policy that I don't think people really know about. You can literally return anything no matter how long it has been. We had someone return a grill they had bought 5 years ago, rusted and very used, and exchange it for new model we received that spring. Sure, it's taking advantage of the system, but Sam's will accept the return. Another customer asked how long they had to return a mattress if they didn't like it after they had bought it. I had to ask a manager cause I didn't know at the time. His reply, as long as they have the receipt they can return it whenever, whether that's 10 days from now or 10 years. Tell the member to tape the receipt under the bed. Thanks, Sam Walton. Pretty much every big box hardware store operates on a skeleton crew and only offer more managerialist benefits for employees to stop them from having a revolving door of staff or unionizing. Yeah, working at Lowe's we were usually one person short per department. Sunday nights, good freaking luck finding someone not already busy since 5 people on the sales floor covering multiple departments each. And I only heard from customers it was worse at Home Depot. Current team member at Target. All cameras in the store have facial recognition, and at my store we usually have a good bit of security walking around pretending to shop. Oh, and here is a little known tip for everyone. Yelling and making a scene at guest services does not help when we deny a return, which we have the option of denying for any reason. The superstore has a policy that if a customer complains enough they'll just do the return. The gift cards from the clothing section, Joe Fresh, can be used on anything in the store. We can look in the back for your size of clothing unless it's clearance. We keep all clearance on the floor. I worked as a manager in training at Target for a summer about 10 years ago. The most interesting stuff was in loss prevention. There's usually an undercover person in the store shopping. They always profile women with bags and watch them on cameras. There was an unbroken line of cameras from the exits to the high-end electronics. At the time, it was iPods. Whitening strips and diabetic test strips were heavily monitored because of their size to price ratio. I guess I was being watched last week then. I was in the electronics section looking at wireless mice, lost the receiver on mine, and brought my laptop bag in cause I was coming back from school. But while I was in the Logitech section somebody actually stole a phone and all the tech people were wondering how it happened so fast. I worked at Walmart for a year back in the day. They spent an insane amount of money and time keeping the sales floor clean and organized. The back room on the other hand was a hoarder's dream. It was a room about the size of a small gymnasium and it was just piled to the roof with boxes and merchandise going back to the 90s. Plus it stunk to high heaven from the rotted food and the dead rats. I worked at Academy Sports for one summer. I really enjoyed working there for the most part. Employees got a 20% discount on everything in the store except gift cards and ear feed. Items would often go on clearance based on our computer system that we had no control of. If the clearance item wasn't sold within that week, they would lower it another 10% or so, rinse and repeat until it was sold. Once we figured this out, some of my coworkers would hide the best clearance items behind the counter and buy it ourselves once it got marked down like 80%. I had a coworker get a Shimano reel that was like $120 normally for $25. Some of the different breads in the bakery are actually just a French bread cut before we bake it, and then charge more. One we cut in half, so you have 2 skinny loaves, but charge double for the same amount of bread. Most artisan, LMAO, store bread is garbage and has little to no taste. Big stores have forever killed quality. There is way more employees than you would ever think work there. Like you don't realize the mammoth size of store, combined with all the stuff going on in back. You have people unloading trucks, taking inventory, bringing out stuff that needs to be stocked, stocking it, cleaning. Even night shift was about 40 people during slow nights. Shopping holidays add 10-20 people to that. Day shift pretty much had 60 or so and did about quarter of stocking inventory stuff. I worked in Walmart IT for many years. It was grueling work, working a minimum of 45 hours per week and supporting Walmart HO, Sam's Club, and other IT teams around the world. The benefits were met. I left for better pay and better benefits, but the experience was invaluable. It was very easy finding jobs after my Walmart career. 2 key applications that help keep Walmart afloat are Retailink and their replenishment system. I had the joy of watching both in action. It is quite amazing to see how fast Walmart can replenishment inventory all over the world. Retailink is a system that third parties can log into and check on their good. They bid low to compete for Walmart's business. Another thing that Walmart was doing before any other company, I think, for all those unused gift cards, they would put the unused money into an interest-bearing account. With the 60+% of people that don't use their gift cards, Walmart banks millions in interest. Maybe how little behind the scenes stuff there actually is. We don't have a massive warehouse in the back. I think most of the inventory in the back of my Walmart was TVs. People definitely thought that I had way more power than I did. I'll never forget when my check reader kept jamming. The customer flipped out, calling me incompetent. My guy, I can do 2 things. I can insert a check and wait for it to do its thing. and I can remove jump checks. I don't have a lot of options. Unlike you, who can use a less inconvenient form of payment. Or when people complain to me that we don't have enough registers open. I was a 17-year-old cashier. Crazy, I know, but I have literally no say or voice in the matters of hiring or scheduling. I'll tell my supervisor. I'm sure she'll definitely do something about that. LMAO. I worked for Target for 6 years, 1 as a cashier, 1 at guest services, and 4 as the store receiver. As the store receiver I was responsible for receiving all vendor merchandise into inventory. Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Pepperidge Farm, Miller Coors, etc. Ups FedEx deliveries, usually books, DVDs, video games, overnight rush deliveries of Hatchimals, etc. Food bank donation pickups, processing out damaged inventory, and destroying recall items. 1. Profit margins on vendor merchandise is usually very slim, if there is any at all. For example, a 12-pack of soda is usually purchased from the vendor for $1 or so more than it is sold for. When they go on sale, Target usually loses between $1 and $2 on every 12 packs sold. DVDs are even worse. 2. Do not ever put your mouth on a soda beer Red Bull can. I've watched cans roll around on the floor and be repacked into 12 packs for sale. I've seen merchandisers stand on cases of Red Bull to reach things. Warehouses are dirty and merchandisers' hands are dirtier. They're grabbing cans where you put your lips. Just don't do it. 3. Bought some medicine, cosmetics, food but ended up not needing it? It's hazardous waste or garbage now. Common medicine and cosmetics are processed through Target's Environmental Sensitive Item Management Process, ESIM. Each item is individually bagged and zip-tied, sorted into one of 6 categories depending on its chemical makeup, and stored until the ESIM vendor comes for a pickup. Any and all returned food is garbage. It's too risky for Target to resell or donate. The only food eligible for donation is product that has been damaged during delivery, stocking, or by a guest. So just keep that extra Halloween candy. 4. Stuff is recalled for the dumbest reasons. My favorite recall was a t-shirt that said keep your friends close. Keep your whiskey closer. I had to pull it off the sales floor and destroy it because it was deemed offensive by guests. Worst recall was about 450 pillows. Recalled because the bag said made in the USA when they were really made in China, filled and finished in the USA. I had to black out the made in the USA label in 2 spots on every pillow with a Sharpie. The only good thing is that we were able to donate the pillows to our local food bank. I remember the pillow recall. They grabbed all the ETLs and TLs to go through and had us Sharpie them all. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.